basic pose. Well, it's not basic. This is not easy. It might look easy, but it took many years,
How's everyone doing today?
and I'm still learning.
I hope good. You're watching this video, so at least you're breathing, right? And so that's a good thing. That's a great thing. But this is the first time that I actually speak, and I want you guys to get to know me, as a person, not just just an artist or whatever, just somebody that throws images on a screen. No, no, no. I want you guys to get to know me, and you guys can ask me anything, you know, unless there's like a million comments, then
Alright.
or questions, then it'll be
Go ahead and
impossible for me to
let you
answer
guys
everyone's
go,
questions. But
and I'll show you. I'll take another small video.
um,
In a bit to see
and this is a new
so you
channel.
guys can see where
This is
I'm
a
at,
new
and
thing for me, and
and what it
it's not
takes.
that easy.
Thank you.
And I'm taking time out of my day to get these projects done,
All right. So
just so I can share with you guys. Then I have to do the editing. I have to
basic.
pick whatever I like, whatever is
It's
good,
not basic.
and then
This is
have
not
to
easy.
edit, and
It
then I
might
have
look
to
easy.
pick a song, because just that's that's me. And
It took
and
many
so
years.
this is the first time that I speak, and so we're gonna make it.
I'm still learning.
I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna try to explain everything that you guys are watching, and I hope I can answer any questions or any doubts you guys might have. I don't have. I'm not Leonardo da Vinci. I'm not but I've been doing these flowers for quite some time, and the rose especially. It's not it's not as easy as they seem, and but once you kind of get it down, you kind of get it. But like I said, I'm still working on them, and I've been doing it for a few years now. And so I'm gonna try to guide you guys, to try to put it in the
All right.
simplest form,
And
so you guys can
go ahead and
understand, and
let you guys go,
and
and
maybe
I'll
pick
show
up a
you.
few skills,
I'll
of
take
a few
another small
techniques that
video,
you guys didn't know, and
in a bit to
and
see
help you improve
so you
on
guys
your
can see where I'm at,
in your
and
flower designing
what it
journey.
takes.
And it's fun. I enjoy it. I really do. Like I was saying in the previous to the previous person, or I can't remember, but I don't like to draw people, cars, or nothing like that. I enjoy
All right.
doing the flowers. And we're gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna start flipping over through the videos,
It's not basic.
or whatever in the images. Okay.
This is not easy.
But
It might look easy.
anyways, I'll cut the conversation short, and we'll have a lot of time to get to know each other. I know you guys are eager to learn, and I'm
It
eager to
took
teach.
many
I
years.
enjoy teaching. I enjoy helping, encouraging, and motivating.
I'm still learning.
Um, and that's just that's who I am. But you know. Well, this is actually the beginning right here of this long amazing project. It's amazing to me because it's taking like maybe 6 or 7 or even 8 different forms, and to get to where I wanted to get it to, so whenever I was happy, and You might not be like that, you know. You guys might be happy with, you know, with your first, try or whatever. But not me. And and it's because when you draw these roses, these flowers, well, the flowers are a lot easier, you know. But these roses,
And
they're tricky, and
let you
they do
guys
have a
go,
trick,
and I'll
a
show
real
you.
trick, yeah,
Take
they're
another
tricky, but
small
they do have
video
a real trick. They have,
in a bit to see,
like you could say,
so you guys can see where I'm at,
a
and
sequence. No, 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 maybe not a sequence. They have
what it takes.
how can you say it? A form, and I'm not I noticed these people on YouTube drawing circles and trying to do the roses inside the circles,
It's
and
not basic.
that's no.
This is not easy. It might look
and uh
easy.
and, and
Let me
and
take
I don't know how that helps them, because when it comes to a rose, when it comes to a flower, they're real, they're well, yeah, they're not real on the paper, but they're real life objects, and they're not man-made. So what I'm trying to say is they come in all different shapes and forms, and so having some established circle to guide you, is kind of it's nonsense. I don't I don't see the I don't see the glamour in it. I don't see anything, like it's not a math problem. It's not a math problem. It's not you're not putting together a freaking a box or anything like that. Straight lines. No, no, no. So I'm like I said, okay. Let's see. I don't have a pencil. Wish I had. Give me 1 second, okay? I'll be right back. The video is gonna keep on going, okay? So just hold on to your horse.
and we'll go ahead and let you guys go, and I'll show you. Take another small video, in a bit to see, just so you guys can see where I'm at, and
Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed that
what it takes.
the Stairway to Heaven. Hey, I think I got like nearly 100 views in like first 3 hours. That was pretty amazing. It got me motivated. And so so here I am working my butt off for you guys, but for myself, because I enjoy it. It makes me feel good. Feel good. And when I can get,
Well, it's not basic.
when I can get
This
these
is not
these
easy.
little
It might look
projects
easy.
done, because it's a satisfying thing, you know, if I'm stressed out or if I'm going through something, I just get up in there and in my little area, my little booth or whatever,
I'm still
and
learning.
just stop thinking about my problems or whatever it is, and just hey man, just have fun. I throw on some jams. I love music. And and so I listen to everything. You'll hear all types of music that I'm gonna put on on these images, because it brings life to them, it also allows you to get to know me, my personality, what I listen to, and that's what I really want. I want you guys to be able to come to my channel and be able, to feel comfortable, and we can talk about whatever, and any given day, we can talk about
And
anything.
we'll
And
go ahead and let you guys go,
I've been through a
and
lot in
I'll
my
show
life,
you. Take
and
another small video,
I'm sure that
in a bit to see,
there's plenty
just
that I can
so
say
you
that can
guys
help
can see
someone
where I'm
out
at,
there.
and
But anyways,
what it takes.
we'll get to know each other. I hope you guys enjoy my videos. I hope you guys enjoy my drawings. I hope you guys enjoy my conversation. And hey, let's get to it.
Basic.
Okay.
Rose. Well, it's not basic. This is not easy. It might look easy, but
Okay, this is the beginning, right? This is like the very, like the very first steps. Yeah, you missed out, as I was drawing
too
it,
many,
but I'm gonna clear it up right here. This is what I do first.
and still learning.
I do the circle first, the center, the little swirly thing right there in the middle. That's the first thing that. Also, you have to think about what type of rows are you gonna do. What type of, where is it gonna, how is it gonna be facing? Is it gonna be facing forward? Is it gonna be facing to the side? Is it gonna be hanging down? It's just, is it gonna have 3 or 4 different flowers together? So all these things you have to think about before, you start, because you can't just, oh, because there's a process, and that's maybe the word that I was looking for earlier. But you have to be able to draw, what's in front first, what you can see, and then draw what's behind it,
And
you know,
we'll go ahead and
or
let you guys go,
you
and
have to be
I'll
able
show
to
you,
to
take
to
another small
visualize,
video
what it is that you're going to
in the
draw,
bit to see,
because if you
so
if
you guys
if
can
if
see
you
where
can't
I'm at,
visualize some
you know,
type of,
in my
flower, some type of
projects.
rose, you might as well just, go play video games or something. And that's serious, because you're gonna need some type of imagination, some type, I'm not saying that it's got to be, you know, uh, uh,
All right, so
Einstein imagination, but it's not something, you have to kind of get, you kind of have to
that's
get a
what
clear image of something,
easy.
of whatever it is that you're gonna draw. But we're gonna talk about flowers. We're gonna talk about roses, right? So, okay. So I usually just start here in the center,
It's
you know,
many
and then, you know,
you practice, and
I want to
still learning.
try to do the front, whatever is and this is why, like I said, this is why the project has taken so many looks and views, because to me, this is not right. Because I know that it's not right, because, there's no petals up here in the front. I done did the swirly swirl. I then came up and did a nice rose. If it was a different style rose, yeah, that'll work. If you have a simple, standing, rose with the, just like this, that'd be great. But when you have the petals coming out from the outside like that, you have to think that, hey, there's also petals up at the front. So you can't, you feel me? So that right there is a mistake.
We'll go ahead and
And
let
you
you
guys
guys
probably didn't
go,
even catch
and
catch it,
I'll show you, take
you
another
know.
small
But
video
it's my job, it's my responsibility to make
so
sure
you
that
guys
you
can see
guys learn,
where I'm at.
and that you
And
guys understand, and that you guys,
take us. Thank you.
appreciate, because because I see a lot of videos, I see a lot of
All right, so
people, doing their whole rose thing, but they don't get down,
basic
and
road
tell you exactly the details and what it is, how it
it's
is,
not easy.
how the process
It
is,
might look easy, but
They just kind of start to draw, and they expect for you to just, magically just, figure out every step, and and they don't. I don't know if they do it just because they don't want to, have everybody,
still learning.
taking their job or whatever. Hey, whatever. I thank God for my imagination. I thank God for my talent. And there, God has enough to give to everyone. There's enough work for everyone. There's enough flowers for everyone to draw. So I just get, I get pleasure. I get, from helping someone. And that's just the way that I am. I love to teach. And because let's stick to the growth. I'm just saying because I speak a lot. I speak a lot, and my thoughts usually just go. And as I think about things in my life, and I just start to, put things together, and it's like, whoa, okay,
All right.
you're getting off the subject,
We go ahead
but really I'm
let
not.
you guys
But I
go,
don't think it's
and
the
I'll show
right
you,
time for me to,
take another small
be
video,
speaking about,
in a
my
bit to
childhood
see if
and
you guys
how I
can
was
see
treated and
where I'm
how,
at,
you know.
and
It doesn't matter.
you know,
It doesn't matter right now.
thank you.
Maybe in a different conversation, or maybe later on, as we get to know each other, then yeah, okay, it'll matter. But okay, so so yeah, that was a mistake.
All right,
Okay,
so
come on, video. Let's give it a second.
basic
Alrighty.
rows,
Yeah. So remember,
basic.
the front
It's not easy.
is the most important. Is well, depends what which position you're gonna have the rows in. So if you're gonna do a rose like this, like this design right here,
Basically, you're
where it's kind of like a flat, kind of,
like
opened up,
mm,
where you can see, from the top angle, kind of like, with the angle. This is definitely not the easiest. I'll tell you that much right now. It's like I said, I've been doing these roses for quite some time now, and I'm still learning, and I'm still, you know, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that because these they're not easy. And if you don't have someone tell you, hey, no, do it like this, do it like that, do it like that, you're having to figure out why he did that angle or why he did that circle or how, or why, and it takes time. And not only that, you have to learn how to shade. You have to learn how to hold the pencil, how to, you know, how to keep, how to move it, how to keep your hand steady, how to do the strokes. Just,
all right.
it's not that,
And
it's not that
I'm gonna
easy.
go ahead and
And
let you
it
guys
takes time.
go, and I'll
And
show you,
but
take
anyways,
another
we're
small
gonna try and
video,
cut the time,
in a bit
and I want to go ahead and help
see
you
so you
guys,
guys can
and
see
hopefully you
where
guys
I'm
can
at,
also,
and
give me a hand,
what it
and
takes.
hey, put the video out there, help me get some likes, and
Alright, so
help me make some money, man. It's
this is
I'm not gonna
your basic
start.
rows,
I'm not gonna go. you know,
it's not
uh,
easy.
but yeah, life is difficult here where I'm at this point in my life, and but not only that, but I see a lot of successful
And
people
maybe
in
you
YouTube, online, and and it's not easy, but it takes initiative. It takes a lot of guts. You can't be scared. You can't be worried about, what are they gonna think about me? Are they gonna think that I'm dumb? Are they gonna think that I'm ugly? Am I fat? Am I skinny? Am I da 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 whatever? You're gonna have to. If you wanna try and do something like me, you have to block all that out, and and just have confidence. Have confidence in your experiences, your knowledge, and your talents or whatever. And you have to be eloquent. You have to be able to put the words out there correctly. And if you can't do that, then but I encourage you. I encourage you. Hey, if you're thinking about it,
alright.
hey, go for
And
it. Because
we go ahead and let
it
you
takes
guys
a lot.
go,
The
and
first step.
I'll
Ooh.
show you,
And
take another
me, I'm
small
having this
video,
situation where I don't even have a
in a bit
nice
to see
computer or even a nice cell
so
phone.
you
This
guys
is an
can see
old
where I'm at, and
4G phone, 3G phone,
what it takes.
and yeah, I ain't ashamed. It is what it is. It works. And at the end of the day, like I said, it takes a lot of work. You have to, like the whole editing. Some of the videos are too long, or the images. You're trying to get the HD in. You can't because it's too slow, and you don't have enough memory. And then you know what I'm saying.
Well, it's not
but it's
basic.
okay. I'm willing to put the
It's
extra
not
effort
easy.
because I
I
have,
mean, it look easy, but
I believe in the material. I believe in what I got, and so if you guys,
many
enjoy, you know,
practice.
being here with me, and listening and learning. Hey, I would appreciate, a like. I don't even know how to do the subscribing yet. I don't even know none of that, or how I can upload, like images that you guys can buy and help me out. Like I don't know how to do that yet. But I know, eventually I'll learn, and it takes time. It takes time, and I'm by myself, so I don't have, well, yeah, I have YouTube. I can get inside YouTube and learn how to do all that stuff. But I'm busy trying to do the flowers, for you guys, so it's a lot, it's a lot, and but it's okay, and but here we go. Okay. So remember, depending on what type of flower, or what position,
All right.
which style,
I'm gonna go ahead and
that's
let you
what you
guys
have to
go,
think about
and
first.
I'll
Okay,
show you.
well,
I'll
am I
take
gonna
another
have just a
small
single
video
rose like the
in a
one I
bit,
have it, in
to
the middle
see,
right here?
just so you
With the
guys can see where I'm at,
just
and
just one stem, one rose
and what it
standing up,
takes.
or what is it, like one dimension, maybe two dimensions, because you kind of get the inside there, kind of,
So
so that's the first thing you have to get
basic
straight,
rose.
but
It's not basic.
in this right here, in this situation right
I
here,
mean, it look easy.
like I said, this right here is wrong. There was supposed to have been, some type of petal or something, what I'm saying?
It's a
Like a,
here.
yeah, of course, a pedal or something. No, freaking pedal. You don't gotta put a car in there. But yeah, of course. But you have to make sure that the pedal goes in front, and it has the correct angle. You can't just throw circles on there, because so you have to think about the angle of the flower. Are you gonna have it like me? I have it tilted to the left, kind of like, kind of like at a 45-degree, kind of like, or you're gonna have it the other way. So the petals are gonna turn. So those are things you have to think about. What before you start. You have to clearly have some type of you know you know some type of idea of what of what you're trying to get done. And but yeah. And so, like I said, yeah, this is wrong. And so now, you know actually right here,
All right.
these
And
these these these
we'll go ahead and
these little curves
let
right
you
here
guys
are
go,
fairly well.
and
The
I'll
outside,
show
the
you.
outside,
Take
and
another
you can see
small
how that
video
petal to the left at the
in
top,
a bit to
right
see,
there by the circle. Not the
so
big
you guys
petals,
can
but the
see
one,
where I'm
I'm
at,
focused right here in the center. And
and what
how
it
it
takes.
comes out, and then it's got the little loop, like kind of like, and it's got the little line that goes like that, and then the one in the back, and it gives it this, it gives it depth, it gives it, it gives it it gives it life, it's not just like a D line, And so those are the most difficult things you're gonna learn, that you have
It's
to
not
learn,
basic.
it's gonna take a
It's
little
not
bit of
easy.
time,
It might look
because
easy.
because even when you come around like this, if you have that line coming in too high, or coming in too low, or coming in too long,
Many
it's not gonna look good. And so you have to really kind of like, before you kind of take your time, kind of like slowly, you know if you have a shaky hand, don't, you have to have a good steady hand, and you kind of have to have very lightly, you can kind of trace it and kind of see where it leads you, and say, no, 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 no. So then you can kind of widen it before you press on it too hard, widen it, or maybe lengthen it, or loop it up a little bit. So, you know, and but anyways, and so here, that's fairly easy. Remember, or the shading. Well, to me, to some people that have never done it, it's a little tricky. It also takes some technique.
All right. And
You know, and
we go ahead and let you guys
you know,
go,
and
and I'll show
you have to
take
be,
another small
like
video
when it comes to the
in a
shading,
bit to see,
you can also there's tools you
so
can
you guys
use
can
to
see
help you
where
out.
I'm at. And
And but you have to be real light. You have to be if you don't have any tools or nothing like that. Later I'll show you what type of tools I use, which ain't nothing. It ain't nothing from freaking from Home Depot. No, it's just something that
basic.
that I learned along the way.
Well, it's not basic.
You know, and
It's not basic.
but we'll get to know each other. As we go as we get along. I'm almost sure you guys know where I learned. But anyways, and
It's a
but yeah, you have to make sure you have a real light hand. When it comes to shading. Also
and
think
I'm
about
still
where the shading is going. You can't just shade the whole freaking flower the same. No, no. You have to think about like where the darkest areas are going to be, which is mostly, the darker areas are going to be in the insides, like in there, in that little crevice right there, you know, or in that, right here, where the bulb is, kind of like, in the center. And then as you come, around the bigger bulb, and then on the outside petals, from in the interior, you kind of, and then also you have to think about which angle your petals are kind of facing, because if you have the petals kind of facing the other way, and you put your shading the other way,
all right.
it's not gonna work, because it's not gonna look right.
Let you
You
guys
have to
go,
you want to
and
put the
I'll show
shading
you. Take
like
another small video
as the
in a bit
petal
to
curves,
see,
so because the petals are not gonna be
so you
flat,
guys can see
you know.
where I'm
I
at.
got some designs, some roses that are they're
And the
badass,
basics.
that are flat, they're real cool that I designed myself, but that's a different story. But on these more realistic type roses, the petals are not flat. They have some type
All
of
right.
bend in them. So you visualize where the bend is, and kind of keep the edge of the
It's
shading,
not basic.
keep the top of the
It's
shading
not easy.
at the edge of the bend. Because the bend is going to be the lighter part, right? Because it bends, it's higher than the rest of the pedal, because the pedal, as it comes up
Many
and it bends
using.
down, the bending part is the high point. That's, the apex.
I'm still
But the
learning.
but the on the other side it begins to go down. So those will be your darker areas. So just think about it like that, Think about, where how the pedals are going to be facing, where they're facing, how, the angle of the pedal, and and where it's located at, because if you have a pedal up at the front, it's not going to have the same shading as the pedals in the back, because you're not. And none of the pedals usually have the same exact shading. No, no, no. Except probably the ones in the back. The ones in the back kind of get kind of like the same effect, But once you come to the ones in the side or the ones to the front, they have a different angle, they have a different angle and stuff like that. But like I said, there's a lot to explain. There's a lot to learn.
All right.
Even though it's just a rose,
We go
like
ahead
I
and
said, I've been doing
let you
these for
guys
years,
go,
and I'm
and
still,
I'll show you.
I'm
Take
still
another small video
perfecting them.
in a
And
bit to see,
and any artist will tell you
so you guys can
probably the
see
same
where I'm
thing.
at.
It,
And
it, it wasn't from one day to the next
and
that
what
they
it
didn't
takes.
learn.
Thank you.
Like that. It took time. Just like reading. Or solving math problems. It just
All right. So
takes time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move.
well, it's not basic.
We can talk a little bit about the
It's not
leaves
easy.
before we move on.
It might look easy,
And the leaves are cool. There's so many different designs of leaves, you know, and and they give the rose a lot of life. And not only that, but they have to be in the correct position. You know, you're not gonna have a you're gonna have a leaf coming out right here, you know, at the top, and then have another leaf come out at the top, crossing it, you know, because no. So you have to think about, and you have to think about beauty as well. You know, you want to give style to your flower, to your rose. You know, you're not just gonna put, well, you know, like, you know, I know you've seen some of those images on YouTube where they have the leaves just popping out to the sides. Yeah, that's cool, you know, for like a second grader, you know. But if you really want to learn, you want to give something nice to your, you know, to your loved ones, to your girl, to your vato, whatever, you know. Hey, you know, you want to give them the best. You know, you want to try to impress them, right? You want to impress them, and you want to impress yourself first, right? You want to be like, damn, hey, I did that
Go
shit,
ahead and
right?
let you guys
And so yeah,
go,
so you have to think
and
about where
I'll
you're gonna
show
put the
you,
petals.
take another
You
small
know,
video,
I enjoy putting
in a bit
one
to see,
behind and one in the
so
front,
you
you
guys can
know,
see
and it
where
gives
I'm
it
at,
this, you know, it gives it
and
this, you know,
and what it
you know what I'm
takes.
saying?
Thank you.
And this realistic look, and it shows your talent, you know, it shows, hey, this dude ain't just, you know, hey, he, you know, he's getting it done. And so, you know, we'll go ahead and move. Let me see. Hopefully, it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So we're moving to the right.
That's where I'm at now.
Okay. Right here, you know, we started some of the shading as well. You know,
Takes
and this
time,
project
patience.
first I had started with pencil,
Anyways,
and I was gonna leave it with pencil. I really was. But
that's where
but
I'm
then
at
I
now.
saw the lights on my first project, and I was like, no, I gotta color this bad boy too. But the only thing about coloring, especially my style coloring, what I like,
All right.
it's not easy. It really is not easy, you know, because I have this, you know, I don't know. It's like my brain works at a different wave. I don't know,
Takes time, patience.
and it has to be
Anyways,
perfect, and it has to be. I'm thinking about the coloring from the outside, or what if the sun is hitting it, and I'm just going into this freaking this you know this
takes time,
crazy mode that's just the way that my mind thinks, you know, and yours might think the same way, or it might not, you know, and that's okay, you know, and
that's
everyone is
where I'm at
different,
now.
you know, and this channel here, we're not gonna judge anybody,
Takes
you
time,
know,
patience,
for who they are or
and
what they
extra.
believe in or anything like
Anyways,
that. I'll let you know what I believe in. But I'm not gonna disrespect nobody, you know, nobody
that's
else's
where I'm at
beliefs
now.
or anybody else's way of life or anything like that. So, but anyways,
Takes time, patience,
um,
and extra.
so yeah, you know, and so right here, you know, you can see some of the shading, you know, by the top petals, you know,
That's where I'm
some
at
of the
now.
shading on the leaf, you know. I started, you know, it takes time, you know, because you can't just go in there and
Time,
scribble
patience,
a
and
bunch of
extra.
shade. No, no, no.
Anyways,
It has to blend. It has to think about the blending. It has to blend in, and it has to give the flower
that's
the
where I'm at now.
curves. You know, it gives it the curves. It gives it the life. It gives it that 3D look, the real look. You know what you
Takes
want. That's
time,
what we want,
patience,
right?
and extra.
We want our flowers to look real, right? To look real, to
Alright,
look awesome. You know, whether it's a real flower or it's a made up design like mine.
that's where I'm at
You
now.
know, but you want it to they, you know, like damn, you know. So,
Takes
anyways,
time, patience, and
so we're
extra.
gonna go ahead and move on.
Anyways,
You know, this is just the beginning. You know, the beginning step. And,
that's where I'm at now.
like I said, it's gonna take like 8 different turns. So, but
Takes
this
time,
is my first
patience,
video, and
and
that
extra.
I'm sharing with you guys. I hope you
Anyways,
guys enjoy it. And
alright,
you know, hey, okay, this one right here. Well, I wish I would have cropped it. But we're gonna go ahead. We'll pause it We'll pause it because it's recording on the screen, and so let's see if we edit. Yeah, we can edit. But it doesn't have the crop edit. Anyways, right here, I guess you have to turn your phone a little bit. Oh, but I can zoom in, I believe. Let me see. I believe. Oh yeah, I have my. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Mhm. Right here, you guys can see how I then, added the stem, and I felt like it was lonely. Like it was a long stem, and it was a big rose. And there was, it's like no. So I drew a little companion. And that's how I draw. I look at things and I see that's missing something, or has too much of something, so I'll erase it, or I'll add something to it. And just go and go and go until I'm happy, until I finally say, hey, hey, I like that. And that's the way that I am. But right here, um, like I said, how this is wrong, and because there's no petals in the front, coming out. But the leaves, this leaf right here, the one on the left, oh, looks great, right? Even the little veins that go out, they have to have the correct angle, because if they don't, or one is just, it's gonna look messed up. I'm telling you, I know. I know. And but the outside, the outside petals are looking fairly well, and it took a while. It took a while for me to understand the petals, because it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna put a bunch of swirls up there. Because there's a few videos. Oh, just go up there and do like a little horsey kind of like, and then go here and do some C's, and it's okay, you will get the beginning of it, but it's not that easy, like, as they make it seem. There's more to it, you know, and and I'll share as the days go by, as as you guys get to know me and I get to know you guys, and see what type of response I get from you guys, because if I don't get any response, if I don't get any encouragement from you guys as well, then then I'm not, then I'm doing this for nothing, because I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm doing it for myself, but I'm also doing it for you guys, and nobody did it for me, Yeah, there's YouTube videos and there's a few good teachers out there, you know, and I'm not gonna badmouth nobody, because not everybody's like, not everybody can explain things like I do. Not everybody can speak like I do. Not everybody thinks like I do. Not everybody draws like I do. So, like, maybe they did good for somebody else, but for me, not much. There was a few things that I'm not gonna say, hey, but yeah, but I'll share as it goes, as we go. But okay, we're gonna go ahead and go to the next video. We'll take the zoom out and move. Okay, so right here we still shading. You know, remember we have to also pick out, you know, the angles of the petals. You're not you said those little points at the top. They're strategically there. I didn't just to close my eyes and throw. No, no, no. They're there strategically. I picked out exactly what point I was gonna put that little point at the top, because you have to think about it. You have to think about, the shape of the flower, the position of it, and it doesn't have to be super perfect, like that lady with this freaking circle, and I'm, oh my god, I'm gonna throw freaking 30 degrees over here to the south, and drop, 45, and then, it just takes, but it does take some type of, you know, of how can you say it, of positioning. It just you can't just, oh well, I'm gonna throw the freaking the ball at the top and the leaves and you have to be able you have to be able to imagine. You have to be able to to visualize the position of the rose and the petals and where's like a real flower. Where they're all at. Where every you know and you'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get it. I got it. You can get it. You know, but I ain't no dummy. Yeah, I'm a pretty smart person. I'm not saying you're not gonna get it. No, I didn't say that either. But I'm just saying it's not as easy as it seems. But anyways, but thank God for a teacher like me. Please, that's what I'm saying. Support a hook it up, with the likes, with the views. It's like that. Hey, I can make some bread. I can get paid for sharing, my time, my knowledge or whatever, my talents, Hey, I should get rewarded, right? You guys are getting rewarded, right? So hey, I should get rewarded too. But that's just me. I'm just crazy like that. But anyways, my name is Marcos. Marcos. I'm Mexican, proud. So I'm blessed to be Mexican. And it's hard. It's hard right now. Like right now in the U.S. Fucking Trump. I voted for Trump. And now I kind of regret it because I didn't think he was a jerk like that. And he's a real jerk. And he is he's a monster. He can be a monster. He's being a monster right now, and I don't approve of what he's doing. His last term, hey, I was down with that man. He was for he was getting things done, things never seen before. He was helping the country, and now it seems as if he's destroying the country, but anyways, like I said, we could talk about all kinds of things. Politics, religion, we could talk about sex, we could talk about, we'll try to keep it PG, you know, relationships, sports styles, the sports, whatever you have, whatever you like, whatever you're into, hey, we could talk about it. Hey, it don't matter. You feel me? We've been around, and there's nothing. I don't think there's nothing that anyone can say. Well, there's a few things, but that's just probably weird shit. That nobody really wants to know about, anyways. So like some of the freaking like some of the stuff that the cartels are doing out there, like freaking skinning people and fucking throwing them. We don't need to talk about that shit. We're trying to keep this channel positive as much as we can, But of course, life ain't always positive. So, hey, but we gotta remember, we have a community. We have the kids that come kind of flip through the channel sometimes, and we don't want to, we don't want to mislead them. We don't want to give them stuff that not me. Other people might, and I see it all day, you know, and ask them, that's their conscience, that's their life, it's their way of thinking, whatever. But not me. I respect families, respect the children, I respect the future, I respect, hey, and that's what I expect from myself as well, and from my family too. So, hey, anyways, let's move on to the flowers. Okay, see my slow phone. It won't even go all the way. Okay. Okay, it's because I gotta bring it down. There. Poor phone. You're a good phone. It's me. I'm the dumb one. No. But here it starts, just. Oh, it does zoom. See, we don't need that. I guess it just. That image didn't want to comply. But, right there, it starts to take a real nice, good looking form, and it's beautiful. It really is, But like I said, if you don't have a whole lot of experience, you see that, you're like, oh shit, hey, that's kind of nice, you, you know, but me, it's like, no, 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 this is wrong. It should have, a few petals coming out to the front, not the bulb. You see how the bulb is up at the front? You know, what about the leaves? You see, there's supposed to be petals up at the front. You know, and when I know that there's something wrong, it's just like, oh shit. I have to figure out a way to get it right. So that's why I said that this project is taking like fucking 8 different turns, and it's actually a pretty interesting project. I enjoyed it, and I finally got to the end of it. It's like freaking 1 in the morning. But it's okay, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. This is my job. This is my job for now. You know, I'm starting my channel, and I'm hoping that, it's going to take off. And I, like I said, I believe in the material. I believe, in my knowledge. I believe in my personality. I believe, in what I have to bring. And I hope that you guys feel it. I hope you guys feel it. And you know, uh, encourage me by supporting, by giving me a hand, you know, subscribing. How the hell do you subscribe? I don't know. Oh yeah, I can subscribe. I get, but I don't know how you guys. I guess it's the same for everyone, right? You just hit the subscribe, but I think you have to like charge or something. I gotta charge. I gotta put like a price or something. You want to subscribe to this channel? I'm gonna charge. What, $5? Is that cool? Or how much? $2 or $50? Man, people are crazy, right, man? They trying to get rich. Like you got these people out there selling freaking tacos or hamburgers for like fucking $10. I'm like, motherfuckers, these trying to get rich out of that. Oh yeah, the hot dogs. I go to San Diego, go try to buy a fucking hot dog. They could charge $5, $7. I'm like, goddamn, you could buy the whole pack for like for $1.50. And that's the type of shit I was like. But anyways, but yeah, we're not gonna do you. I ain't gonna do you guys like that, Like I said, hey, and so, but yeah, I ain't gonna charge you for the jokes either. You guys are the ones that are gonna have to make that decision. You want to listen to that Mexican, and it's all good. Shit, I don't give a fuck. I'm from Texas. Uh, Actually, from Houston, Texas, baby. And man, you got nothing but rednecks out there. We talk about racism all day, every day. And it's part of the culture there in Texas, man. They're fucking racist, and the fucking Mexicans are just as racist too. So I guess to say, oh, if they could do that to us, then we could do that to them. But yeah, in Texas, oh shit, man, right there, hey, they got like, I'm a welder. That's what I do. I'm a welder, but I do everything. Once you have a family, man, you better get with it. You know what I'm saying? And if it's cutting grass, you gotta cut grass. It's fucking shoveling shit. You're gonna do it. Because you have to pay for your home. You have to take care of mama. You have to take care of the babies. And that's the way it is. But but yeah. And so, but anyways, in Texas, man, you had your white shops, you had your Mexican shops. O sea, ¿me entiendes? Los mexicanos tenían su taller ellos, and they ran the motherfucker, and the white boys had to bow down, because but Mexicans are benefits. And so, but the Mexicans are always cool. They're cool to the gringos, because they understand that they're singled out. and they understand the pain because at the white shops, oh shit, it's different. The white shops, if you're the only Mexican there, you're still gonna get treated like shit, and that's I think that's the biggest difference, you know, and that's just the way that's the way Texas is, you know, and not all probably not all Texas, but you know where I you know Montgomery County, you know Conroe, Cut and Shoot that area, oh shit, man, and it's you know. But it's all good, you know, whatever, man. They grew up like that. You can't expect for them to change, you know, from one day to the next, and hey, you know, I kind of understand them in a way, you know, when you got all these Mexicans going there with their flags and all their fucking taco stands. Hey, they're like, these motherfuckers are invading our shit, you know what I'm saying? But really, you know, they just trying to make it, man. They're trying to make it. You go to live in fucking Mexico. Go live in Mexico and see if you can fucking make it out there. You feel me? And so these people, they just come out here, and I ain't gonna say all of them, because there's bad motherfuckers too that shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be in the U.S. You know, they should be locked up. You know, or they should be fucking Honduras or wherever the fuck they're from, Mexico, whatever, because you know, they don't belong there either, because they're not good. They're not good people. But you know, but that's in every race. You know what I'm saying? And that's the bottom line. You know. But yeah, you know, but anyways, let's get back to the flowers. And here we are with the rose without the front petals. Okay, okay. Oh yeah, we gotta zoom in. Right. And this is where I begin to start to do the repair, you know. And remember, you know, I already have all the petals on the outside, so I can't just freaking erase the whole project and start. No, no, no. You know, because it's good. You know, it's no, no, no. It's good. It's good to learn how to repair. You know, because some of these images, you know, you really put your heart into it. And this right here, my friend, I didn't do this shit in fucking in 15 minutes. No, this took hours. You know, and you know, and you guys are not gonna want to start all over as well, just like me. You know, you guys are not gonna want to erase it. No, no, no. You know, it's either you're gonna leave it the way it is, or you're gonna try and fix it. Me, I'm gonna fix it up. You know, and so I have to, because I won't be happy. I won't be able to sleep if it's, you know, that's just me. You know, like I said. And so I kept the outside petals. You know, the leaves. Hey, they look beautiful. You know, they look uniform. You know, they look like they're in the right fucking area, in the right place, right position. You know, we still kept the center, the little swirly swirl, but we did go ahead and erase, you know, the front, you know, but we can't just throw anything out there, you know, so we also have to try and kind of work in, you know, the petals, you know, where, you know, or you can't just throw a big ass petal and try to fill, no, no, no. Because you still want the rose to look like real, you know, you still want it to look good. And so you have to figure out where, how, and then, you know, the loops, you know, and so that's gonna take time. But I'm just letting you guys know how what I had to do, what I did in this project, you know, so you guys don't think that oh no, no, no. Hey, this shit, hey, it takes a big effort. It really does. And and you know, I'm not gonna say for everyone. There's some bad man, some I can tell you they draw with their eyes closed, you know, and so that's just that's God given talent. And me, I believe I have a God given talent, but I've had to earn it. Some people they just they just have that knack. You know what I'm saying. But anyways, and yeah, just late. Sorry, but okay. But we will continue. We have to finish. And right here, I think I just hit the HD. And so you got the lines a little bit, more what is the word? Starts with a V. Vivid. The lines are a little bit more vivid. You know, you can see with more detail. And this is where I begin to get the idea of the tiger or of a face. Because I was looking, because I'll be studying my shit and just looking and like, fuck, what can I do? How can I fix it? What's wrong with it? And I start to see, I was like, oh shit, you know, like this is the eye right here, that circle, the top is the eye. This right here is like either it's like a smile, like a mouth, you know, and this is it was like a face. It was like he had like a scar maybe, and I have a scar too, so it kind of like reminded me of me in a way. And like an old goofy looking man, there's like an eyeball right there too, And so I start to see these things, and I'm like, oh man, that's pretty neat, you know. But anyways, so we'll go on to the next. Okay. And we'll turn the phone a little bit, So it looks like we went ahead and kind of kept, a few of the petals that we did draw. We kept like, very front. But it's still, remember, you have to, you know, and now the leaf is in the way, so you also have to think about, like, where the petal is gonna start and end, to the point where it still looks good, where the flower still looks, real, like, it's how do you say it? Like like all the side, like the measurements are correct, not the 35-degree angle, no, not that, no, but but that it looks, that it's in the correct area, the correct place, or at least in a decent position. So we'll move on to the next. And this, my friend here, you know, is where things, start to look, a whole lot different. Once I got that face, and once I got the image of the face, I got the idea as I was going and going, and I was like, man, and I looked at the leaf, you know, and then I was like, wow, that could be like, and then I was like, well, but you can't mess it up. See, that's the one thing. You can easily mess up any image by doing one little extra line, one crooked little line, just, or shade too dark or shade too light, you know. So it's critical. It really is. To me it is. To you it might not be, but to me, it is. This is my work. I take a lot of pride in what I do. Put a lot of heart into it. I always like to be the best, whether I am or not. That's a different thing. But me personally, I want to give it my best. And I'm a very creative person, and I like to do original things. I like to think of myself as a unique person, as somebody that has talent. I like to be, oh, I ain't got no fucking talent. No. I'm gonna try to find my talents, If you think you don't have any talents, God says that, hey, he at least gave us one talent. Everyone, he gave one talent. So no matter who you are, hey, there's gotta be that one talent. What it is, I don't know. You have to discover, just like me. Or you have to build on it. You have to work at it to get good at it. So it's just, you have to like it. That's one thing. You have to like it. That's the bottom line. You have to make sure that you like it. That's the only way you're gonna flourish. That's the only way that that's gonna give fruit. It's the only way. And so right here, you guys see, I kept the eye. Now I have to figure out how to do the shading. Remember, but this is not the easy pencil shade, because I did start as a pencil shade, you know, and and I think there's a video where the flower, that rose, and how I did that rose, and it got 40 views, so yeah, I'm gonna do a few pencil drawings out there, but they're fairly simple for me, the shading, now it's simple, but it took a while, and you know, it's still not perfect, but anyways. But the coloring is a whole different monster. You have to, depending. It depends. If you're a Crayola person, hey, no worries. Hey, go for it. You know. But I'm no Crayola person. I always, man. And and so and so I have to do something special. I have to do something different. I have to do some original, something. That's the way that I am. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy, my drawings, man. Like I said, man, a lot of effort, a lot of time, imagination. Let's go to the next one.